is the East? Where is it? And the answer is it actually isn't anywhere specifically, because it is totally reliant on where you are. I was born in Devon, and so I moved to Cambridge from Devon when I was 31. But in fact, after that, I moved to Yorkshire, and people used to say to me all the time, "Oh, you've moved north. You're in the north now." But you see, when you're from Devon, Cambridge is north. We used to say in Devon, you had to drive 100 miles to get to England. So, the kings from the East, there is no such place as East. Except there is. It's relative to where you are. Now, here's a mistake that we can all make when reading the book of Revelation. You see, if I was in the middle, say, of the 60s or the 70s, the Cold War, when I read that verse, I might have been tempted. Craig Keener, the scholar, calls this newspaper hermeneutics, where we read the Bible according to where we are and in what time we are. So in the Cold War, to prepare the way for the terrifying kings from the East, well, that sounds a bit like maybe Eastern Europe, the Eastern Bloc, Russia, perhaps. Or maybe if politics were to change and world events were to shift, we might think about the Far East, a threat from the Far East. But you see, what's important is this. If you were living in the Far East wouldn't be East. That would be east of the Far East. If you were living in Russia, well, of course, technically, historically, it is the East as opposed to the West. But in terms of a compass, Russia is Russia. And anything east of Russia is East. Right? So, in the book of Revelation, the kings from the East, from the other side of the Euphrates River, they were the fierce and deadly Parthians. Now, the Parthians were, well, if there was any group of people that made the Romans nervous, it was the Parthians. And so, in fact, and they had this book of Revelation written perhaps something like 90 to 95 AD. And the Parthians had indeed attacked the area of Asia Minor, which is where John sends this vision. It had recently come under attack from the Parthians. So the idea of the kings of the East would have been very much in their minds. And so what we're reading of when we read of the kings from the East in the first century, in the area of Asia Minor, that was the land of the Parthians. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that in the future, when this prophecy is fulfilled, that the kings from the East will be the Parthians. But I think what John is saying and revealing is that it will be a group of kings a bit like the Parthians. I want to encourage you. The book of Revelation can be understood if we can have faith that it is a supernatural prophecy about the future, but is best understood through the eyes of its original historical context.